It's 6 o'clock, Jim, if you, whatever you'd like.
Yeah, we're going to go ahead and start it. We have four, right? There's Bill, Johnny, myself, and Al, right?
Correct.
Okay. So, yeah, we'll go ahead and start it. This is the regular meeting of the Public Health and Safety Committee. Today's Tuesday, July 21st, 2020, 6 p.m. If you're present, say present. Bill Fahrenwald, you're present. Johnny Hill?
Yes, I'm here. Yes.
Okay. I'm here. Al Stevo?
Here.
Okay. Absent at this time is Dexter Johnson, Will Cazares, and Candace Carr. So we have four. So we do have a quorum. Also, I see present is Kevin Brown, Chief Rita. Am I missing anybody else, Randy?
Bernie's here now, too.
All right. Chief Arzab is here, too. Okay. So we have a quorum. So we're going to go ahead and start the meeting. I'm just going to read this agenda. This is the Public Health and Safety Committee meeting held remotely Tuesday, July 21st, 6 p.m. as permitted by Executive Order 2020 signed by Illinois Governor J.B. Pritzker in response to the COVID-19 pandemic. To participate remotely, download the Zoom app or call 312-626-6799. Public Health and Safety Meeting, webinar ID 892-4375-2176, password 599276. If you had any questions on how to do this, please contact the city clerk. All right, so we're calling the meeting to order at 6 o'clock. We did roll call. I sent you guys all a copy of the June minutes. Hopefully everyone had a chance to look at them. Anybody have any questions, or can I get a motion to accept those?
Yes.
Motion by Johnny?
Yes, that is correct.
Okay, second by anyone? Everybody there? Everybody here? Okay. I'll make the second. Any questions on the minutes?
No.
No? Okay.
Alderman Cazares is in the room now, too.
Cazares is here, too? Okay.
Yeah.
Thanks, Randy. So 2 p.m. All right. All in favor of accepting the minutes from the June 2020 meeting, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Okay, ayes have it. All right, so under public comment, public comment shall be by email only. Persons interested in making public comment must email their public comment to jklinker@cityblueisland.org by July 21st. Email public comments received will be read during the public comment portion of the meeting by Alderman Klinker. So I have one that I received an hour or two ago from Carol DePace Green. Public comment, Carol DePace Green. The Blue Island city-owned lot vegetation is more than 2 feet high on Orchard Street and needs to be cut. There is an imminent risk of harm to residents due to coyotes and snakes who frequent the area. Alderman Carr and Jim Polstrel have been asked to please provide a timeline for the crushed sidewalks on the 2700 block of Orchard Street that Jim Polstrel marked off for replacement in August of 2019, with nothing done so far. We know sidewalk replacement is ongoing and completed by Blue Island Public Works Department. How much longer do you, Alderman Carr, and Jim Polstrel, Public Works Director, anticipate 2700 block residents to wait? The last date the city of Blue Island owned lot was cut was on June 23rd, 4 weeks ago. Jim Polstrel, Public Works Director, has had a period of 11 months to develop a plan to address and mitigate the crushed 2700 block sidewalks. Residents of the 2700 block have been more than patiently waiting for action from Blue Island Public Works Director and 6th Ward Alderman. A timeline and corrective action plan have been requested. Blue Island has a spending problem. Montana and Welch did an extremely poor job assisting with appropriations. Too much money went towards fluff and stuff with little and no money for essentials and infrastructure. The Blue Island City Council must put the brakes on the well-connected contracts. That's it, that's all. Reallocate Blue Island taxpayer funds and put our tax dollars towards essentials where our tax dollars belong. I am very pleased to see Advanced Life-Saving Service on tonight's agenda for discussion in Public Health and Safety Committee. Advanced Life-Saving Service is a vital, needed service for Blue Island that will save lives. Blue Island deserves better. So that was the only public comment that I received. So with that, we'll go to Fire Department business. Chief Rita, you're up. Why don't we start with monthly reports?
All right. Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Alderman Stevo, sorry for the delay in getting you your report. Everybody else has a copy or received it? Okay. If you have it in front of you, I'll go through it quickly. The public health, our emergency call response for June 2020 is as follows. 271 EMS responses, 122 fire responses, of which 11 were auto aid responses, broken down respectively, with one mutual aid response that was from me to South Holland. Medical reimbursement services collected in the month of June, $44,629.47. You'll see that attached. That should be page number 2, or that's medical reimbursement for the month of June. That brings our year-to-date total for EMS services collected to $237,254.96. Fire recovery, Blue Island received in June a total of $1,969.68, bringing that year-to-date total to $12,314.68. No false alarm fees collected in June, and that continues or remains at 700. Some calls of interest for the month of June. On June 2nd, a rather warm evening, the 2400 block of Oak, we had an apartment fire that was due to cooking left unattended. The kitchen was going. The guys made a nice stop on that. 6/6, we went to Riverdale, or the engine, I'm sorry, engine 2113 went to Riverdale for a fire. Then on 6/10, some of you might have saw that 12935 Troop in Kell Park that went to a third alarm. That was a fire overnight in an auto body shop or an auto repair shop. 6/13, that was the one I referred to for the mutual aid. I went to South Holland for a third alarm there to assist them. The next day, 6/14, back to that address on Edbrook in Riverdale. And then Posen, the engine went to Posen on 6/22 for a fire. So that's sprinkled in with, again, most of our EMS responses that we run on a monthly basis here. So if you go to page 2 on this general information, again, I continue to update the communication between the task force and our elected officials. We've been, hopefully we continue to meet Monday, Wednesday, Fridays. Obviously there's been a lot of activity the last couple of weeks with us moving from phase 3 to phase 4. So you guys have continually gotten those daily updates. Continue to update the Cook County Homeland Security with what's going on in Blue Island. Not much to date, but I'm on there. That's where we get our PPE supplies as well. So I stay on that at least once a week, try to get down there at least twice, but I remain active with that. As a grant, I believe I brought it up last month or the month before that we applied as a MABUS division for the FEMA grant for a regional FEMA grant for PPE. We were informed that we received that. The division received roughly $63,000, and that's going to be spent on PPE. We're going to get a cache. We have a garage in Posen. That's the division garage. We store equipment there and such. But this will allow us to stockpile PPE, not only for obviously COVID-19, but for other instances of whatever shall break out next. And it's a needed shot for us, certainly. Some of that would have been, I guess, it would have been nice to be able to spend that in a different way, but we'll take what we can get. The PPE will definitely be helpful. Firefighter Joe Michaels, he has resigned. His last shift was July 6th, and he has taken a position with the Elgin Fire Department. We did replace him recently. Actually, the guy's first day was today, Trevor Noonan. So we wish Firefighter Michaels luck in his endeavors in Elgin. Tower ladder or truck 2114 is out of service again. We got it back. The ladder is fixed and repaired and was in operational order. We had it up for a couple of days, and we had some issues with the thermostat and then the radiator. We have since had to replace the radiator, and it is sitting up there waiting to get that all finished. So once again, this is the truck. It's been out of service for almost a year now, between the ladder and now the radiator and some other issues. That truck is, again, like I said, I've reported before, 22 years old and not getting younger. Although we haven't run it in a year, it's still a year older, and we're having some issues with it as far as the maintenance upkeep on it. So Marine 2 is out of service. We have some parts. We had a bad float switch in the bilge pump that it was taking on water. Thankfully, we had somebody down at the dock that caught that early on, and we didn't sink the boat. So we were able to get over there and rectify that. We got it out of the water. It can respond if need be. It just can't sit in the water because there's no way to pump the water out of the bilge. So we are waiting on the parts. We will hopefully get that. We have to get some lights for that too, so we can see obviously what's going on at nighttime down there. We did have a battery recovery this month. We assisted state police as well. So there's a need for the lights. So I'll get your prices on that and come forward with that when the time comes. And then ambulance 2162 is out of service due to an electrical issue. That's the ambulance that we bartered with Posen about, or got from Posen in exchange for the street sweeping last year. It is an older ambulance. It's 2004. So they're chasing an electrical issue with the basically when you turn on the air conditioning in the back, the heat goes on in the front and vice versa. So there's some electrical issue there somewhere. So it's out of service. It's up at the shops right now. Fire prevention, our pre-plans, we reinstituted that, and they continue to be done on Wednesdays as they were done previously. Again, guys are taking the necessary precautions when they're places of business doing these inspections or pre-plans, I'm sorry, and we'll go from there. Training hours for the month of June, 489. Those are attached in the or I should say they're in the packet, broken out by individuals and what they did, the days and duration of time in the training. Our operational plan was to change once the truck came back, but due to it being out of service again, we are holding off on that. It will be minimal. It's just going to be because the truck's going to be moved back to Station 1 and running first out there, that some little things will be changed. So that will go in effect once the truck's actually back. And then we continue to respond and prepare for COVID-19 as we have been since pretty much March. So you guys get the daily updates. We've seen, a slight uptick, but overall through the state, obviously the numbers are down. So that's a positive. Firefighter Cook is taken over for as our EMS coordinator. That just took place this past or the end of June. Firefighter Kirby did it for a little over a year. So he helped us get Image Trend up and running and some other things going. So thank you to him, and Firefighter Cook is pretty energetic. So we'll see how that goes. So we're happy to have him on board in doing that. The rest of the packets that you guys have, as asked, the overtime report broken down respectively by individuals and how much we spent, along with the reasons why, as well as the 7G program that's for Joe Cook for EMS and Lieutenant Zielinski for fire prevention. Again, a rather light month. We just started getting back into the inspections and all of that. So that concludes the report. Are there any questions about that?
Hi, this is Alderman Hill. Who does all of the repairs for the vehicles when they break down? What company?
We have EVS out of St. Charles, and we have Chicagoland Diesel and Als Upgrade.
Okay. And what's their record like? I mean, are they pretty good at repairing thoroughly?
Yeah. The thing with EVS is it's a little bit farther away. It's in St. Charles, but I'll tell you, we do not. At least I haven't seen. And maybe Jim, you've seen something before. But the service that we get in regards to, if I call the man at midnight, he'll come out, or he'll have somebody out there. We had an issue with not only the radiator the other day with the truck, but we had some electrical issues on the engine. They came out on a Sunday and basically fixed it. Well, they troubleshot it till they found it, because they were chasing wires and found out that it was a connection issue. And then, but what I'm getting at is they were there 8 hours on a Sunday and got us up and running to the point that we weren't down for very long. So, some of the stuff that we may not like as far as them being farther away or whatnot, they take very good care of us. Chicagoland Diesel, they just opened up a shop in they have a shop in Alsup, and they just opened one up in town on Harrison. So they're going to be local, which is a good thing. They're getting EVT certified, so they'll be able to work on some of the fire apparatus as well going forward too. So those are the two that we currently are using.
Okay. Okay.
Any other questions for the chief?
Can you hear me? This is Alderman Fahrenwald.
Yeah, go ahead, Bill.
Thanks. Probably maybe a little bit off subject, but I just wanted to, while I got you here, suggest as you are meeting with Chief Arzab and others in the city and your tri-weekly meetings regarding COVID, that I don't know whether you've talked about this or not, but I thought it might be worth considering just matching the city of Chicago restrictions as they kind of flex up and down, since we're basically attached to the city. And I know they just decided to restrict indoor bars, which is unfortunate, but I understand why they're doing it. So that was my thought, just if you would maybe bring that up at your next meeting and see if that makes any sense.
Yeah, we meet tomorrow, Alderman, so yeah, we can bring it up.
Okay, thank you.
All right, any more questions for Chief? All right.
No.
If not, we'll move on to the two items under old business. So Chief Dan, Alderman Dexter actually was asking about ALS upgrade and costs and all that stuff, which is kind of what I texted you or emailed you about. So could you just kind of give us an update what that's going to entail so that we can pass that on to the finance committee and hopefully get that ball rolling?
Yeah, I sent, if you guys recall back in during appropriations in one of my line items, I just pulled that out. I gave you that should have been included in the email that I sent as far as what the documents, and that would have been ALS upgrade for July or for 2020. You're looking at for supplies is broken down. Now, some of this stuff we can go without the Lucas device. We don't necessarily need, but you're looking at roughly about $160,000 in just equipment alone to upgrade. So the biggest cost that we're going to incur regarding that is going to be the monitors, which is, as I've stated before in appropriations and elsewhere, we're going to have to look at replacing in 2021 anyway. So they're going to be obsolete in February of 2021. So that's going to be your largest cost next to the manpower and classes. Now, we currently have a roster of 27 people, 12 or 13 of which are already ALS certified. So or they carry a paramedic license. So that being said, in discussion with Ingalls and our medical regional director, which is Bernie Heiligser, they've agreed, as they have in the past with other municipalities, to work with us should we decide to go this route. And what that entails is that it'll allow us to go 1-on-1. What that means is that we can run one paramedic and one EMT on an ambulance to get started. There's also other programs out there such as Silver Spanner, which we fix a rate, or we set a rate, and we take people from other municipalities that would be willing to cover those shifts until we got everybody certified to the ALS level. So there's options out there. Again, the cost, that's just a breakdown for the equipment. The manpower, meaning overtime and some of the now a class for ALS or paramedic class is about $5,000 roughly. So conservatively, if we could send 4 a year, that would get us done in pretty much 4 years, all said and done, where everybody's ALS or paramedics. So we're looking at $20,000 additional cost a year for classes. And then you're talking about covering guys for their time off, or while they're in class, covering their time off, depending on our staffing for the day. So that would be the tricky part. I can't give you obviously a definitive answer or solid numbers on what the overtime would cost. My concern is, you guys have seen, I report about, we turn over the bottom of our roster quite a bit. My concern with, and we'll definitely look at different options, as I just said, but my concern with the ALS is because of our pay and where we're at as far as it relates to other municipalities. We start investing money into these kids, sending them to medic school. We're in essence training or paying for them to leave us for a higher paying job. So there's some things we can do. We'd have to look at different things about reimbursement should they leave in a period of time, things of that nature. But that's the breakdown. That's pretty much where we're at. Like I said, the big thing is going to be the operating supplies that we need, and then going forward. Now, I'll say with that, and again, it doesn't necessarily pertain to us upgrading to ALS, but it does play into the role that we're going to have to update our equipment as well. We've talked about this. I know we have some options. I talked to Topeka about 3 weeks ago. Sat her down, went through some of the things we talked about as a group in appropriations, as far as setting up some capital plans and things of that nature too. But I just want to, I'm not doing my job if I'm not informing you guys of some of the costs that are going to be coming down the road. Again, all three of these ambulances, more so the two newer ones, are seeing a huge uptick in mileage, because obviously we're going to Ingalls, we're going to Little Company, we're going farther distances with them. So that being said, like I said, this is a cost that we obviously have to look at. We have to plan, and it sounds as if that's the direction we're looking at least the planning phase of it. But I want to caution everybody too that there's going to be other capital items that we're going to have to look at, and we're going to have to find ways to pay for those things as well. So ambulances, an engine, a truck, all of that stuff is coming due rather soon here. And again, it's I understand that it's going to be a lot of money. I understand that the financial problems that we're having as a whole, not just the city of Blue Island, but neighboring towns as well as a result of COVID and beyond. But like I said, I'm just bringing it to the committee's attention that these things are going to have to be looked at very seriously in the very near future here. So that being said, some good news. We're moving forward with this, and that's were there any questions about the LS? I'm sorry.
I'd like to
Chief,
say that Dexter's in the room now. Alderman Johnson's in the room now.
All right, thank you.
Chief, it's Alderman Fahrenwald.
Yes, sir.
Just wanted to maybe suggest, I guess, or perhaps you guys have already looked at this, but I read in the newspaper, so I don't know how accurate it is, but the Blue Island's going to be receiving something under $700,000 in CARES Act funding, and I guess that's coming along here pretty soon. And that would seem, this to me, it would seem like that might be a place to look for at least some or all of the funds to handle the ALS upgrades.
The CARES Act and that money, as well as just the FEMA public assistance stuff, it has to be directly rated. It has to be directly related to COVID. So that being said, we may be able to, and I'll talk to Howard a little bit about this. We've kicked around different ideas, not quite to that, but I'll look at it for you. But I think that we might. You're a little bit hamstrung because it has to be COVID related. So that was what I mentioned, that FEMA, and I have talked to our rep for the International Association of Fire Chiefs, as well as the Illinois Fire Chiefs. So that money that I mentioned about that we got as for a grant from FEMA for the division as a whole, that's some of what I was talking about. PPE is great, and it's really easy to throw money at that, and I'm thankful that we got it as a division. But in our instance, it would be nice if some of that money, like you're saying, could be spent on upgrading. And I know I'm being selfish when I say this, and I said this to our rep. I get it, but we are BLS, and yes, I guess you could point the finger at whoever you want to point the finger at. I don't think that's really relevant at this point, but should we have been ALS years ago? Sure, maybe we should have, but the fact is that we weren't, and we didn't. That doesn't preclude us from trying to pursue some of this money, and it would be nice to see some of the federal money and even local money being spent on upgrading and making services better for the Southland as a whole, and specifically Blue Island. And that's along what you're saying. So I'll look at it. I'll talk with Howard a little bit more in depth and see if we can come up with maybe a way to try and get that or secure that for those reasons.
Okay, yeah, that's great. And I do agree that it does seem like maybe there would be a way, since this is, we're all struggling here in every way imaginable under what, the constraints that COVID has put us under, and that public health is profoundly affected by it. It'd be great if you could find a way to tie it, but I understand what you're saying.
Okay.
Yeah, this is Alderman Johnson, and I wanted to bring up a couple of questions or statements, more or less, stating that with the ALS training, if we were ALS certified, that we could actually charge more. I think the people had pointed in that direction, that we could actually get more money for our services. Definitely, since we have to go so far to, second save live And then it also might qualify us for, other grants and monies that's out there as well.
Is that it, Dex? You got
do
anything
you want me to
else?
respond, or is that a question, Dexter, or did you just?
Yeah, I was waiting on a little help there, Mr. Rita.
Okay. No, I didn't know if you're.
And also, I want to apologize for coming in the meeting late. I want to apologize for that. So did you guys go over some of the numbers that it might cost us in order to do so?
Yes, Alderman Johnson. I gave him the operating supply cost. I gave him a breakdown on the cost of class, and then I guess the wild card, if you will, is going to be the amount of overtime to cover guys while they're in class, which I don't have. So we did look at it, but to answer to I guess reiterate what you had just said or support what you said as far as in our conversations with or my meeting with Topeka, we did talk about ambulance billing. You're right. We have not had a rate increase in, I believe, 6 years now. And, with certainly if we're ALS, you can charge almost double as far as what you're charging as far as a transport, and then your mileage. I mean, at the very least, we should be looking at upgrading or raising the fee on mileage to begin with. Because obviously, like I just mentioned a few minutes ago, we're traveling farther distances. So we are currently at $10 a mile. And back in the day, really, with Metro being open, we never saw much of that money regardless, because obviously everything in town was a short drive to Metro. So that really was minuscule, the amount of money that we were collecting in regards to mileage. So that being said, we can look at other ways. Yes, go ahead. We're looking at other ways to do that. I know, again, I think when I first got here, maybe the first year I got here, we did look at, I think, at Director Marzell's requests, different fee structures, if you will, for even at the BLS level. Like I said, we hadn't raised our rates in some time. So the proposal that I had presented back then, I think it would have generated an extra $40,000, which, at the end of the day isn't a whole lot, but that's what 8 guys going to medic school. So there's ways we can look at doing things. The money, you don't want to gouge the citizens, certainly at this stage of what's going on in the country. But again, some of this or a lot of that stuff is paid for by the insurance companies. So again, that's food for thought. And again, any questions about the ALS, because I got what I'm going to talk about next will kind of go in the route of, like I said, it's positive as far as potential more income coming into us.
Yeah, and I appreciate that, Chief Rita, because the thing is, I want to apologize as an alderman. When we knew Metro South was going down and we had to go, lengths and distances to different hospitals or facilities to help whoever, get sick or whatever, we should have been looking into this then, especially when they have put an offer on the table for $2.5 million.
Amen.
Okay. Anybody else got any questions about those numbers or anything else regarding ALS?
No.
Okay, so the second thing that was on, I'm sorry, Alderman Klinker, do you want to?
No, let's go ahead, Dan. You're doing good. I'll leave it up to you.
Okay. The GEMT, which I brought up, unfortunately, it was late last year by the time we got it. We still have about a month to get this all wrapped up, which Topeka is working on, along with myself, to try and get this. So you see the IGA. I just wanted to bring it to you guys first. Obviously, it's going to have to go to the Finance Committee and then to the full City Council. But this is a revised agreement, intergovernmental agreement between the Illinois Department of Healthcare and Family Services and the City of Blue Island. This allows for us to collect extra money or recoup extra money that on top of the Medicare and Medicaid that they did not pay or that we weren't able to collect as a result. This is a federal deal. Many departments, some of the larger ones that have a lot of resources available, were able to get it last year and get in on it last year. Conservatively, what we're looking at from what our former representative from our building company told me was about $100-some thousand thereabouts. If all things go well, meaning we do what we're supposed to do as far as the collection, and we have a busy year, we could potentially see upwards of maybe $400,000 or more. So that's if that's the case, that would be doubling what we got. Now, I'm not obviously certainly guaranteeing or saying that we're going to be getting that. I'm saying that use that or put that into perspective as to what we'll have available to us. So again, that's things that I had mentioned back in appropriations that if we get a percentage of our billing that we can start putting towards capital items or obviously, schooling or things of that nature that we're talking about here, then we have that ability to, again, it's not coming out of the necessarily the city appropriations. It is, but it isn't, because that's stuff that we're generating and we're getting it set aside for us. So I don't know what you guys, what you think about that, but that's that GMT. I had sent it to Carrie, or I'm sorry, the city attorneys to look at and review. Again, Topeka and I are working on that, so we have to have that submitted and everything done by September 1st. So I wanted to get ahead of it a little bit sooner than last year. There's a little bit more information that I have. I sat through a webinar on it. So again, I brought Topeka up to speed, like I said, when we were meeting. So we're working towards getting that all buttoned up. We'll just need this IGA signed by the city council and the mayor at some point here. I'm looking, showing you guys, seeing what your guys' thoughts are, or see if you have any questions regarding it.
Chief Rada, this is Allan Stevo.
Yes, sir.
I can't state the need enough. The residents of our community need ALS. And that's the end of the story. I mean, it should be a top priority. And also, this is not ALS, but when are you planning on buying 2 new ambulances? We need new ambulances.
Well, sir, like I stated, that we need a lot of things. The ambulances, I'm not saying we don't. We need at least 1 engine, 1 truck, and 1 ambulance to begin. That's where we're at. What order that comes in, I'll have to look at it. And again, it depends on what is available to us to be able to spend. That's what I'm saying. There's a lot of components to this. The ambulances that we have, the 2 newest ones are a 15 and a 16. So we have a little bit of time on those. But that 2004 definitely has to get replaced at some time, especially if we're looking at the ALS, regardless if we stay B or go A. You're going to have to look at replacing that thing. That was a stopgap measure because we didn't have the money to fix the other one. We didn't have money to buy a new one at the time. We got that. It's a good running rig. It's old. I mean, we try and get it rotated, but because some of the issues that we're having with it, and it's all little stuff, but because it's out, we don't get to put it in a full rotation. But even that being said, we're putting a lot of miles on these ambulances going back and forth the way we are to the hospital. I mean, we're a very busy department. We're well over 2,000 calls again this year. That's on record to break the almost 4,000 runs that we had the last 2 years, or 4,000 in 19 or 18, and just under 4 last year. So this is, we're busy. I mean, and unfortunately, we haven't had the fortune of being able to purchase new equipment and have the funds available to be able to do it. Certainly, we tried for that grant last year. I really thought we had it, but we didn't get it. But that can't be the end all be all as well. I mean, we may get a grant for 1 rig, but we're looking at replacing, like I've said before, in the next probably 8 years, we're going to have to turn over all our entire fleet. So that's 3 engines, a truck, 3 ambulances, 2 command cars, and that boat. I mentioned the boat that, and Alderman Klinker can attest, this really isn't a fire rescue boat. It gets us through. It gets us to what we need to do, but it isn't the most optimal piece of equipment for patrol in the canal, if you will. So again, I wouldn't be doing my job if I'm not informing you guys of what is going on. And I certainly am respectful and understanding of the financial constraints that we're under as a city and as a region. So, I'm turning over every stone I can to try and find us money, to find grants, to find us ways to pay for this. And this GMT, is a good start towards the ALS and or a rig perhaps. So that's why I'm bringing it up. Again, I'm curious to hear everybody's thoughts on it. Certainly, I think Topeka's got a very good grasp of what's going on. She's pretty dialed in now after our conversation as to what our needs are. And I fully understand that the fire department isn't the only one. I know police are going to need stuff, public works is going to need stuff. Every department's going to need stuff. So I'm trying not to be too selfish here, but I'm just trying to be real with the committee and the city council as a whole as to what our needs are going to be going forward.
Chief Ryder, this is Allan Stevo.
Yes, sir.
For all those reasons, that's why we need to buy 2 ambulances sooner. There's low interest money available, and we have to be proactive. And let's look into this. Let's get this thing accomplished because our residents, this is what they deserve: 2 new ambulances. It's safety. I want to go on the record as I'm for buying 2 ambulances. The money can be found.
This is Alderman Johnson. I agree with Allan Stevo, but I just want to ask a question to our chairman, Chairman Klinker. What do we have to do next in order to push this situation forward? Should we send it to finance or have Chief Rita and Topeka put the numbers down so they'd be able to look at it and, you know, compare apples to apples and oranges to oranges in order to get this this ball rolling? Because I'll make a motion to send it to finance if that's what it is.
So Dexter, you're talking about the GEMT thing?
Yes, sir, for the ALS.
Okay, so I just put that down on the agenda as a discussion item. I didn't put like approval for like a vote because I think that's what Dan actually asked me to do. I think we can, I mean, I think there's a consensus between all of us. We don't need to vote on it to definitely send it to Finance Chief Dan. I'm sure you've probably even talked to Topeka about that. So yeah, maybe we, you know.
Well, about the GMT, I'm sorry, or the ALS.
Yeah, about the GEMT stuff.
Yeah,
Can we send
that's
it to
gonna have
finance?
to go. That'll have to go to finance too. Yeah.
Okay, but that's what Alderman Johnson's looking for, to get that ball rolling. So, you know, I think, like I said, I only put it down as a discussion, so I don't think we can make an actual vote, but I don't think anyone's against it. So I'm gonna just make a recommendation that it goes to finance, Dan, if you wanna talk to Topeka and see if we can get that ball rolling. Does that
Okay,
work?
but and just so I'm clear, this is just solely for the GEMT, correct?
Yeah.
Not the ALS.
I think that's
I
what
would like
Alderman
the ALS
Johnson's-
to be. I would like the ALS to be addressed as well, because I think that would have to go through finance as well, because we're spending or you guys looking to spend for training and things of that nature. But it only equates to us. First, is a great service to our own people, but it's also a way to bring more revenue in. So eventually it could be self-sufficient, you know, because one thing I hate to be reactive all the time. You know, we should be proactive. That's what hurts me about like I said, I apologize before as an alderman. We should have been pushing for that when Metro closed, because we could have picked up the Dixmoor situation and had more revenue coming in. And we dropped the ball on that. But I'm looking for both, to be honest, both.
So the GEMT one for sure. And how about if I do this? Would anyone be opposed to me talking to Alderman Donahue and seeing if we could get Chief Rita just to come and give the same information at a finance meeting, so the entire finance committee will know what we're looking at and try to figure out ways to start raising some money to get that ball rolling. Does that work with everyone?
This is Allan Stevo. I'd like to have a finance meeting with you.
I'm sorry, you cut out. You'd like to what?
This is Allan Stevo. I would like to attend a finance meeting with you.
Okay, I have no problem with anyone attending it, but what I'm saying is I'll talk to Kevin Donahue and see if we can just get him to put it on. Chief Dan, if you'd be willing to sit in on another meeting, and that way you can let the finance committee know, because ultimately that's where it's all going to go through. You know,
Right.
Once again, I put this down as a discussion because at the request of Alderman Johnson, we talked about it the other night at finance, and we're trying to get the ball rolling here. So once again, I don't think we can make a vote on it, but I don't think anyone on this committee is against it. So I'll talk to Kevin Donahue, Alderman Donahue, and try and get that on an upcoming agenda for finance. And then when it is, I'll let all the aldermen from this committee know too, so that they can attend the same meeting. Does that work for
Sounds
everyone?
great to me.
Chief,
Sounds great to me.
Go ahead.
Chief Ryder, this is Allan Stevo. Could you please get the numbers for 2 new ambulances as well?
Yeah, yes, sir.
Thank you.
Okay. Any other questions regarding the GEMT or anything else that the chief's talked about?
No.
Okay. Chief, you got anything else that you need to talk about?
I have something that I just, the informer at Station 2, which is, gives us our station alerts, it broke this past week. So we're looking for replacement parts, but the reason I'm bringing this to you is because during appropriations, and this will probably be more along the lines of Finance Committee at some point here, but we were not allocated. There was the money I had allocated for radios was to replace the batteries, which we still need those as well. But unfortunately, we've had some issues with our radios as a whole, and now this informer took a dump on us the other day. So we have no alerting at Station 2 right now. When they went to replace it, they're hoping they can find the parts for it, but from what they told me, at least at first glance, they're going to have difficulty getting it because, frankly, it's too old. But they're doing their best to find it. If that's the case, it's about a $200 fix. If it's not that, and we have to get a brand new one, it's about an $800 plus fix. But the problem is it's a 10 to 15 week period before we get the new one in. So because they're back ordered due to COVID, and COVID's got everything all jacked up through the country. But so I just wanted to make everybody aware. We do have pagers down there. They do have the apps on their phones. We have the backup if there is a call. Orland is to call Station 2 if they don't hear them move out. But you'll probably, if you do see that, we may have to move some money from other line items. Not that there's a lot elsewhere, but to pay for that out of the radio or out of the radio line item. So if you see that, that's what that's about.
Okay, great. Yeah, if you just keep us posted on that one, and I'll also let Finance kind of give them a heads up on that too, that might be coming. So yeah, if you just let us know.
Okay.
Okay, thank you. Anything else, Dan?
I think that was it.
Okay.
Yeah, that's it.
All
right.
Klinker,
Yeah, go ahead.
this is Allan Stevo. I'd like to make a motion to accept the chief's report and place it on file.
Okay, it all ends up on file anyway. Al, we haven't made motions since I've been doing this, so it'll end up on file along with the minutes. So we'll move on to the police department business. Chief Arzab, you there?
Yes, sir.
We're ready for you. So if you want to start with the
All
monthly
right.
reports.
Okay, good evening, everybody. For the report for June, looking at page 1, probationary police officer Bryant Holloway has completed his field training program and has been assigned to the Green Night Patrol shift. Sergeant David Nedved has returned to active duty from an on-duty injury. Probationary police officer Julio Puma was sworn in on July 8th and reported to the Macon County Law Enforcement Training Center on July 12th, and he is expected to graduate the academy on October 2nd. As part of our commitment to Ileas, which is the Illinois Law Enforcement Alert System, and the ability to provide additional training and opportunities to officers, Officer Joseph Doolin has been selected to the Mobile Field Force Unit, and he will attend training for this position in October. As part of our commitment to SMART, which is Suburban Major Accident Reconstruction Team, Corporal Anthony Strezzo and Officer Anthony Cirillo have been selected to join the response team. They will be attending the required training throughout the year. Dwight D. Eisenhower High School has been advised that a school resource officer will be unavailable this upcoming school year due to the police department's current staffing levels. They have been reassured that part-time officers Esparza and Cologne, who have secondary employment in the school, will be able to continue to provide assistance when needed, as well as the patrol division as a whole. Approved staffing level for full-time sworn police officers is 37, and this number includes the chief, administrative sergeant, investigations division, and the patrol division. Current staffing level is at 33 right now due to a disabled officer, 3 officers that retired, and an officer not actively working who is due to retire in October. And the next eligible candidate on the full-time hiring list is scheduled to be hired and attend the academy in Macon County in September. But realistically, our number is actually still at 32 because Officer Julio Puma is going to be that 33rd number, but he is not part of minimum manpower or alone on a shift until probably looking at spring of next year, early spring of next year, after he completes the academy and completes the field training program. So realistically, we're still at 32. The key holder, the business key holder, citizen reporting, vacation watch, and overnight parking components of Frontline are now active for residents and businesses to utilize online. All department staff continue to issue personal protective equipment. That is a repetitive item on this list, so I'll go continue forward. On the second page, item J, Animal Welfare League in Chicago Ridge notified the department of possible cancellation or suspension of taking in animals from our jurisdiction. This is due to the Village of Chicago Ridge entertaining the passage of an ordinance that will greatly impede the Animal Welfare League from carrying out its 84+ years long mission to protect public health and provide safety and sanctuary to lost, abused, and abandoned animals. And attached to the monthly report is the letter that I received from them earlier in June. Number 2, the monthly reporting, the clerical totals. The police department collected $39,062.62 for the month of June. And you have the other 3 attached reports to the monthly report. Number 3, calls for service. A total of 3,066 incidents were recorded in June. 1,221 were calls serviced by the officers. 1,284 were self-initiated, and 43 ordinance citations for fireworks possession were written between June 13th and July 8th. There were 6 firearms recovered in June, and there were 2 FZO deployments in June, and we also went to the FZO, the Narcan nasal spray going forward through Ileas, rather than the overdose prevention program through Cook County, which is no longer in operation. And all members that utilize the FZO have been trained online through the Illinois Department of Public Health. The third page and the majority of the fourth page is all of the training through the department, of a total of 102.82 hours of online training. Bottom of page 4 is the overtime, and then the total on the top of page 5, which totaled $7,758.72. Number 8, the department projects. A, Lexipol, that's repetitive. B, there's a little bit of a change on item B. The system that controls the key fobs for the police department will have to be updated due to the ransomware. Videotech finally provided us a quote of $11,351.10 to replace the systems that control the police department and the East Annex. The replacement would use existing wiring and some hardware, which would require both systems to be replaced at the same time as they are connected. Letter C is repetitive. Letter D is repetitive. E is repetitive. F, in reference to body cams, we've been starting to research implementation of a body-worn camera program. So far, we've researched the cost of 40 cameras in addition to individual user and administrative licenses, docking stations, cloud storage, and redaction software is approximately $15,000 a year. But we're still researching other options as well. The department is researching a transition to Lexisnexis eCrash and request a report system. These systems will eliminate officers handwriting traffic crash reports and provide an online portal for citizens to request copies of reports. Both systems are no charge to the city, and a portion of the report fees will be deposited to the city account. And that is one of the motions when I'm done with the report to go over for your approval. On the top of page 7 is the patrol fleet. And there's one addition to the patrol fleet, the 2013 Ford Explorer that was previously assigned to the deputy chief position is in the process of being outfitted as a patrol vehicle due to it having lower mileage and urgently needed in the patrol fleet. On the bottom of page 6 is the case assignments for investigators. On page 7 is the cases of interest. The first 3, discharge of a firearm, one on June 18th, 12500 block of Fairview, one on the 19th, 13500 block of Sealy, and one on the 20th, 12900 block of South Page Street. Those are still actively being investigated with very little information as far as witnesses and vehicle and offender descriptions, but we did collect evidence that is being analyzed at the crime lab. And it's the same as the 26th in the 2400 block of 123rd Street. And then for community engagements on June 20th, myself, patrol officers, and detectives participated in the safe passage of a scheduled peaceful protest starting at the Robbins Police Department, traveling to the Blue Island Police Department, and returning to the village of Robbins. The Robbins Police Department, Illinois State Police, and Cook County Sheriffs also participated. There were no incidents to report. And that concludes the report. If you can look at the attachments, attachment A is all the clerical totals. Attachment B is the sworn police totals. And if you could look a little bit further down on that sworn police total sheet, you'll see a line that says COVID-19 possible reimbursement in reference to salaries. We're at approximately 40, a little less than 48,000 that we could possibly get reimbursed for through the grants that we have. And then item C is the totals for the month, patrol totals, and item D is the UCR count and also the letter that was attached from Animal Welfare League. And that concludes my report. If there's any questions, or we can move on to the 2 approvals.
Does anyone have any questions on the chief's report?
Alderman Fahrenwald.
Go ahead, Alderman Fahrenwald.
Chief, I just want to thank you for the diligent work of the whole force on the fireworks enforcement this year. There were still a lot of fireworks, but I felt like once you really got into the enforcement that there was a reduction. So, and I know it's a lot of work and a lot of effort at a busy time of year. So I do very much appreciate your follow through on that.
Yep, you're very welcome.
Yes, this is Alderman Johnson.
Go ahead, Alderman Johnson.
I just was wondering, did you have money in the budget for those new officers coming in with cultural sensitivity training?
That's included in our training. We don't have to pay any additional. It's included in the price that we pay for our training initially.
Okay, thank you. And again, thanks for all you guys do, you know, especially with the fireworks and things of that nature this year.
Yep, absolutely.
Anyone else? All right, we'll move to new business. I'm just gonna go in the order they are, Chief. So the first one we're gonna do is a discussion of concerns regarding Waterfall Park at Chatham and Fulton. That was brought to my attention and asked to be on the agenda by Alderman Cazares. So I'll let him talk about that right now, and then we'll go from there. Go ahead, Will.
Thank you, Jim. So the MWRD CETA pump station number 3, or most commonly known as the Waterfall Park, if you've had the pleasure of visiting, is an asset to Blue Island. It is by far one of the most scenic and most beautiful pieces of waterfront, if you want to call it that, properties here in the area. And as growing up in Blue Island, I understand that area was designed to be a leisurely park for the residents. Now, my problem is that everything that I just said isn't coming to fruition because of the constant abuse of that particular area. Abuse that results in broken glass. I'm just going to go ahead and say misuse by adult individuals, resulting in a drop in families and residential families using it for leisurely purposes, such as anything from trash, rubbish being left overnight, broken glass, and I'm not going to get too into the maintenance of that area because I don't have to do a little bit more research on who exactly is responsible for the upkeep. But what I am bringing to the attention of this committee is that I believe that we can at least address today, or at least discuss manners to address the abuse of that park. Chief, I'm pretty sure you're aware of constant calls, or maybe you haven't received constant calls, but the abuse of the parking lot that neighbors that park is used after hours, because just for your information, that park is supposed to be closed at sunset, but it continues to be used all throughout the hours of the night. And after midnight, after 9 o'clock, depending when the sun sets, that park becomes almost like a haven for people just up to no good. So I want to go ahead and open up the discussion for anyone else that has anything to add, and maybe we can start talking about some solutions that we can plan for the future.
Hi, this is Alderman Hill. I just got one question. Are there any restrictions now that exist for the waterfall?
By restrictions, you mean?
Is there any restrictions now where there's signs up saying no littering, signs up saying that this closes at a certain time of night?
Okay, well,
and if you violate these, restrictions, what are the penalties for it?
The most prominent sign that is displayed all around the park in the parking lot is that the park is closed at sunset, and that is by far the first rule that is abused. So yes, to answer your question, yes, there are restrictions set out, but unfortunately.
This is Chief Arzab.
How you doing, Chief?
Good. Yeah, in reference to the signage, yeah, we can probably look into getting some better signage. I know back in the day we used to have a sign on every pole, with that information. Since then, I think that many of them either fell off or have been damaged or just wear and tear. So we could probably have better signage put up, and also maybe indicate on the signs. Possibly, like you'll be issued citations, or what the ramifications are going to be if you're there past sunset, or what you are specifically doing there. A lot of the trees can be trimmed so we can have better lighting at night, to deter people from hanging out over there, because it is pretty dark. And then I don't have an answer. I'm hoping maybe one of you can maybe enlighten me. Do we have some type of a policing agreement with MWRD on the books?
Good question, Chief. we'd have to dig in to figure that out. But I think to start, I think a patrol, a nightly patrol, or at least adding it to the nightly patrol schedule would drastically reduce the number of misuse in that area, because from what I've noticed and what I've collected and witnessed, the violations are the people that are violating the rules are using that parking lot that is closed at night to park and set themselves up. So I know that we have to look at whether or not people can legally park their vehicles there overnight. But I think at least a friendly reminders for our park users, our nighttime park users, would be a start. That is what I can offer right now.
Okay. Yeah, I think as far as the park is closed at sunset, I think that only has to do with the park, not specifically the parking lot. So I don't know if we have authority to put up any additional signs that say the parking lot is closed as well. And then maybe consider putting on Grove residential permit parking only.
So Chief,
on Fulton.
Yeah, we've Randy, I think you can answer this and answer. We have put up residential parking only in the area, in the neighboring area. So what that leaves us is with the parking lot of right neighboring that park, the waterfall park. And I believe during the week, which is still one of the sees high usage at night, during the week, that parking lot is a pay lot. Am I correct, Randy?
Yes, the lot, they call it the basement lot, right next to the park, there is a pay lot during the day. The Fulton Street to the east of there is not a pay lot, and the residential only parking is on Grove for sure. I don't think it goes all the way over. Grove is the last one to the south.
Yeah, we do. We did put up no residential parking, no parking signs on Chatham, the east and west side, and I believe most of Grove is residential only, and also the Fulton as well. So in the lease, Chief, if what we have in our holster right now is the friendly reminder that is, at least during the weekday, that is a pay site. That is a pay parking lot, and anyone looking to park there should, at least in the lease, pay to park.
And
yes, correct.
And they do, and I know, I think your part-timers, I think Bernie, are the ones they patrol that, and they write tickets every day for all those
Thank
ones.
Let me just clarify. I don't want to make that park into a no parking at any time, because we, after all, we do have commuters that come into town or leave town late at night, and the last thing we want to do is inconvenience any of our commuters from Blue Island. But I believe that in the lease that minimizing the usage of that park and the park itself would be ideal. But right now, I can't give you an answer whether or not we have jurisdiction to police on the park grounds. But if we can research that, who would that fall under?
Okay.
This is Alderman Johnson. Chief, do we still have an agreement with SWAP?
No, I haven't heard about that in many, many years. I don't know if it's even.
It's been canceled. Hi, this is Alderman Hill. It's been canceled. SWAP is existent right now. And basically what they do have is community service, but that's kind of non-existent right now because of the COVID-19.
Yeah, I was just trying to figure a way to probably have that place cleaned or something, you know what I'm saying, once or twice a week without putting enough, more burden on the public works. But I think we have an agreement with the MDWR with things that in reference to that.
So Dexter, thanks for bringing that up. This is Alderman Cazares again. Yes, community cleanup crews are vital to any part of Blue Island. If you've noticed, the Blue Island Trash Brigade has been doing a lot of cleanups in the city, and one of the areas that I know that needs constant cleaning week by week by week is that Waterfall Park. Not only because of just debris being scattered or blown in the wind, such as on Wyerton Road or Francisco. That area, that is the one area where trash is brought by residents or non-residents using that park. That is brought there, they leave the trash, and that's not the worst part. What the worst part is, the trash is left there, and glass is broken, which becomes a hazard to the residents. It becomes a hazard to anyone that wants to use. If I'm a pet owner, and anyone else that has children, know that the last thing you want to do is visit a park, regardless of how beautiful it is. You do not want to visit a park that is notorious for trash, broken glass, and who knows what else.
This is Jim Klinker. Chief, a quick question for you. So you asked if there's a policing agreement with MWRD. So the parking lots themselves, do you guys actually patrol the parking lots?
Yes.
Yes, okay. But the actual park itself, you're unsure if you have jurisdiction over that. Is that what you're saying?
Well, I mean, we do enforcement, but it's more so just telling people they need to leave.
Yeah, okay.
When they're not supposed to be there.
Right. Yeah, I you would think that would be enough, but unfortunately in this day and age it might not. Okay,
right.
So I think what I'm going to do, if it works for the committee here, is, if there's any more ideas, I'm willing to listen to those too, but take these ideas that we've come up with, I'll throw them in the form of an email to the mayor, to various department heads, just kind of get the ball rolling on this, get some people talking, see if we can find out if there is a policing agreement with the MWRD, make sure that you guys are patrolling, which I'm glad to hear that you are, and like Dexter said, it's a lot to ask Public Works to go clean that up, because it's a mess. I don't get down there very often, but, it gets messy pretty quickly, and those guys are already doing a lot of work. So if that works, that's what I'm going to try and do here, is get the information out to the mayor. Like I said, I'll send it to Community Development Committee. I'll send it to Candy's municipal committee, and we'll see what we can do. Maybe we can find out if Carrie can look into, or someone's aware of, if we do have a policing agreement with MWRD. Just kind of like throw these all ideas out there and hopefully get some of this stuff started. I think the signage would be fairly easy to get going. And trees and stuff. Some of these things are pretty simple fixes. Some of them might take a little longer. Does that work for everyone?
Thanks, Jim. Just want to finish off with telling Chief that I understand that this is not only a police issue, because this is the same issue with speeding. You need someone to sit there and monitor each and every single road 24 hours in order to ward this issue. The reason I brought this to the committee is because I'm only one man, and I can only think of so much. Policing is obviously very important, but anything else we can think of, we can, through our authority, bring to that park, such as better lighting, more signage, possible, technological advancements in I'm a lack of a word here, but in crowd control, anything like that, that's something that we should probably talk about here. And that's all I'm going to say for this from now. Thank you.
Could I just throw in one quick comment?
Thank you, Bill. Go ahead.
Go ahead, Bill.
Yeah, you've said pretty much everything that needs to be said here, but I do walk through the park around closing time 2 or 3 times a week. Yeah, I do think better signage would be very helpful. I know with fireworks, when I posted a very large notice that there was a fine $750 for fireworks violations on Facebook, that's the biggest post I ever did. I got a lot of attention, lots. I think that though a sign with that kind of notification on it would get a lot of attention, and I think maybe a targeted enforcement over a couple of weeks period of time to get the word around that we're not, it's not going to be warnings anymore. You're actually going to get a fine. The word would get out. So I would strongly suggest that we look at something like that.
Chief Arzab, this is Allan Stevo. I have one thought I'd like to share with you and the committee. Perhaps we could get some security cameras there, and perhaps we can get water reclamation district to install them and put them up. I think security cameras would be very helpful there.
Okay, yeah, that would be something else added with that discussion.
Alderman,
This is Alderman Johnson. Also, I think, you know, like Mr. Alderman Fahrenwald stated about the posting of the fireworks on social media, as well as littering, because I don't think they know that's a fine that's connected to littering. And then too, before we dig too deep, is to find out what could MDWR help us with, you know, before, you know, because they might have a lot of this thing, you know, in pocket the way they can, you know, take care of it.
All right, anybody else have anything for this discussion?
Alderman Klinker, I know we have a lease on a lot of the MWRD property, and Mark Miller, if you would include him on that, he might have some input as far as.
Perfect. Thanks, Randy.
Sure enough.
Anyone else have anything on that one? All right, we'll move on to number 2, which is the approval of the Lexisnexis agreement. Chief?
Okay, thank you. So I'm asking a motion to enter an agreement with Lexisnexis for the use of their eCrash and request to report services. For an overview, the Blue Island Police Department currently completes Illinois traffic crash reports by hand and submits the report to the Illinois Department of Transportation. Lexisnexis offers an eCrash solution that would allow officers to complete crash reports over the computer, populate information directly through the system, and reduce the amount of time it takes an officer to complete a report. Involved parties, including insurance companies, would be able to retrieve copies of the report directly from Lexisnexis for a predetermined fee, of which the city would receive a portion. The reports would then be digitally transmitted to the Illinois Department of Transportation for monthly reporting. Also, the Blue Island Police Department provides redacted copies of police reports for a fee, which must be requested and collected at the police station. The Lexisnexis Request a Report feature would allow individuals to request reports online, with the request being sent directly to the clerical supervisor. The supervisor would be able to upload the report to Lexisnexis, complete all the required redactions, and send the report to the requester, who may retrieve the report after submitting payment. Again, the city would receive a portion of the fee. Options and recommendations: Lexisnexis services will not financially impact the city, as the cost of the service is covered in the portion of the fees that Lexisnexis retains, and the city will still collect the same amount per report that is currently charged. Several agencies utilize this service, including the Cook County Sheriff's Office and the Als Police Department. So I'm looking for approval to enter an agreement with Lexisnexis.
I have a question.
I'll move for that.
Okay,
This
so
is
we have a
Alderman
motion.
Alderman Johnson.
I have a question.
Hang on
Sure.
1 second. Hang on 1 second. We have a motion by Fahrenwald. Let's get the second, and then we'll go to the question. Second by anyone?
Johnson.
Second by Johnson.
Johnson.
Fahrenwald and then Johnson. Okay, let's go to the questions.
Chief, real quick, the information, all the reports, those are going to be stored on a cloud that we will be granted access to at all times. The city will be granted access at all times, correct?
Correct.
And if is there anything that is specifies if the company were to go belly up or were to if they were to dismantle, we would then be giving hard copies or digital copies of that information before that inevitable end of, you know what I'm saying, right?
Yeah, all of the information, that is our data, all of that information will be given to us.
Okay. Okay, thank you.
Chief Arzab, this is Allan
Yes.
Stevo. Allan Stevo. Has Kerry reviewed this yet?
Yes, he has.
And what was his opinion?
He was fine with it.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Any other questions? Okay, so we have a motion by Fahrenwald, second by Johnson, to approve the signing of the Lexisnexis agreement. All in favor?
Aye.
Randy,
Opposed?
Randy, do we have to do a roll call?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, you know what? I'm sorry. You're right. We do.
Requirement, yes.
Yep, let me start with the roll. Yep, you know what? Thanks, Bill. So let's go Fahrenwald,
Aye.
Hill,
Aye.
Stevo,
Aye.
Cazares,
Aye.
Johnson,
Aye.
and I'm an aye also. So 6 ayes, so that passes. All right, so we'll go to the approval for the Macon County Law Enforcement Training Center Memorandum
All right.
of Understanding.
Okay, yeah, thank you, Alderman, for the Lexisnexis. And then just real quick, Alderman Klinker, I also have it for the next agenda for finance.
Yeah, we didn't have
As
finance
long
last
as you
night,
guys
so
have approved it, yeah, okay.
yeah, okay, thank you.
Okay, great. So Macon County Law Enforcement Training Center Memorandum of Understanding. I'm looking for a motion to enter into the Memorandum of Understanding. The Blue Island Police Department currently used various vendors for new law enforcement officer basic academy training based largely on availability at the time an officer is hired. The Macon County Law Enforcement Training Center proposes a memorandum of understanding that would provide the Blue Island Police Department with 2 spots for each of the 3 academy classes held per year. The department would not be required to fill these 2 spots and would be required to provide proper notice that the spots are available. This agreement would allow for the departments to have a solidified start date for new hires based on the preset academy dates and provide consistent training at a state-of-the-art training center built in 2017. Additionally, Macon County direct invoices the Illinois Law Enforcement Training and Standards Board for all billable items, with the exception of extracurricular courses and wearables, thereby reducing the financial burden on the city. Neighboring agencies that have signed agreements with Macon County include Chicago Ridge and Frankfort. The department has previously sent 2 offers to the Macon County training facility, and as I stated earlier, we do have probationary officer Julio Puma currently at the academy right now. Macon County will provide consistent opportunity and instruction for the department to train new officers, particularly with the recent and upcoming retirements of current staff and the need to replenish manpower. So I was looking for an approval to enter into this agreement.
I'll make a motion.
Motion by Fahrenwald, second.
By Alderman Hill.
Second by Hill. Any questions on this agreement?
Not a question, Alan, Stevo.
Go ahead.
Chief Arzab, once again, did the city attorney Carrie peruse it?
Yes, he did, and he was fine with it, yes.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Chief Farzad,
Yes.
Alderman Fahrenwald, just curious, how did you, I don't know, I would say vet this or compare it against other options?
Well, I mean, like I had stated, over the years, we've gone to different places, county, state police academy, things like that. What drew our attention is that it is, like I said, it's a brand new facility. It's state-of-the-art equipment. They're updated with the needed mandates. Not that these other academies don't have the mandates, but it's a great opportunity for us to take advantage of a place that has top-of-the-line equipment and the necessary services that we need to get these officers trained within the times that we're dealing with currently.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? All right, then we'll go to a roll call. Anyone in favor say aye. If you're opposed, say nay. Bill?
Aye.
Fairwell? Aye. Hill? Johnny?
Aye.
Ellen Stevo?
Aye.
Will Cazares?
Aye.
Dexter Johnson?
Aye.
And I'm an aye as well. So 6 ayes, that motion passes. Okay. Chief, you got anything else?
No, thank you again, all of you. And do you want this one to go on finance as well, even though there's no monetary? I know you want them to go through 2 committees.
Yeah, why
Just
don't we
throw
send
this
it to
on
finance too?
too?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. All right,
Yeah,
very
'cause-
good. That's
all right.
all I have. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else have any questions for the chief or anything?
I have one question, Alan, Stevo.
Go ahead.
Oh, geez.
Real quick, Chief.
Yes,
Does the department have anyone currently with Drug Enforcement Group?
yes,
Okay, thank you.
you're welcome.
I got a question.
Go ahead,
Just
Tex.
on the last thing, we okay, but I don't think it really needs to go to finance if it does not have anything to do with any money coming in or going out. I'm just saying to push it forward to go to full council.
Has to go to 2, I believe.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking too. It has to go. Randy, are you still there?
Yeah, it only would be if possibly judiciary, but they're not meeting. They're supposed to meet tonight, but they're not meeting. I don't know when the next committee.
Yeah, I was just thinking we'll go to finance next Monday, add it to that, and then it can also be put on the agenda for next Tuesday's council meeting.
That would be the next committee meeting prior to council, yes.
Yeah, does that work? Yeah, and then eventually, I mean, we're agreeing to send you guys there. It's gonna cost us money eventually, so yeah, okay. If I think we'll do that if that's okay with everyone.
That's fine.
Okay. All right. So the next thing is Alderman concerns and comments. Anybody have anything?
This is Alderman Cazares. I have a quick one.
Go for it.
I've noticed an increase of mini bikes and ATVs on streets. Is anyone else experiencing the same issue, or is it just my ward?
I've seen it.
I haven't seen them up by my ward, but I did see them down Old Western Avenue a couple times when I was at the public house Friday night.
I've seen them in California, in the California Gardens area as well.
So it sounds like it's not localized to the second ward. Now, Chief, if you're still there, remind me, are these most of these vehicles illegal on our streets?
Yes, the majority of them are, yes.
Okay. All right. So I guess at this point,
Yeah, give us a call. Let us know.
Yeah.
Let us know when these happen, and we'll try to catch them.
all right. So I guess I'll use this platform to let anyone watching that mini bikes and ATVs or anything that doesn't have a license plate, as I understand it, are illegal on the streets of Blue Island and should be detained before. Because I'm mostly afraid that someone's going to get hurt because these folks are not using those vehicles or motorbikes for transportation. They're more like recreational on streets, and I believe someone is going to inevitably get hurt. Thank you.
And if I could just ask Chief one more question?
Go for it.
Probably just so the public can know, because we all get a continuing stream of comments about city stickers. Chief, are you planning an enforcement at some point now that the new stickers are out there?
We were planning on doing our usual enforcement. If you guys are okay with that, and I will check with the mayor. We usually start it sometime in the mid-August. We kind of give people an opportunity to get them and then go full force, if that's okay with you guys.
Sounds good.
Yes, that's fine with me.
Be aware, we're coming.
Okay.
Anyone else? All right. If no one else, we're going to motion to adjourn the meeting.
Alderman Hill, adjourn the meeting.
Second by anyone?
Second by Alderman Cazares.
Cazares. I'm going to go all in favor on this one. I'm sure everyone's aye.
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 Okay, our next meeting, looking at my calendar, hang on one second, is Tuesday, August 18th, 6 p.m. Probably on Zoom again, I'm assuming. And after I send the email to Alderman Donahue about the ALS stuff and everything, I'll ask for a meeting and I'll inform you guys of when that's going to be, so we can all listen in, okay?
Okay, Jim Klinker, thank you so much. You continue to do a great job leading the committee. I appreciate it. Thank you.
And thank you, Bill, for sitting up there tonight. I appreciate it. All right, thanks, everyone. Good night.
Good night.
Good night. Thank you.
Good night.
Thanks, Bill.